I love shiny Pokemon. Something as simple as changing the colours of pixels and the odds at which they appear just unleashes serotonin in my brain for some reason. And I know I'm not alone in this feeling, but some shinies aren't as loved as others, whether that's because they hardly change or because they change too much. So in today's video, I'm going to be letting a random wheel decide which 3 Pokemon from Generation 1 need changing. If you enjoyed this, let me know which shinies from Generation 1 you think you need fixing, and without further ado, let's get to changing some shinies. Okay, so we have the wheel of all the Gen 1 Pokemon from Bulbasaur to Mew. We're going to fix 3 shinies today. Which shinies are we going to fix? Let's spin the wheel and find out. Okay, hoping for something good. Please something that needs to be fixed. And we have Parasect. Okay, Parasect is a very kind of orange and red shiny. Not very different from, well, it's kind of a yellow and red, I'd say. It's not very different from the original. So that would be an interesting one to try and fix. Let's see what shiny number 2 is. Okay, shiny number 2, please be something that needs fixing, not something boring with one color. Come on, be good. Omastar, yo, that is a nice purplish pinkish shiny, and there is so much potential with it. Yeah, it's kind of like a one color change shiny, but I'm sure we can definitely figure something out with this. Let's move on to shiny number 3. Shiny number 3 is going to be something that needs changing, please, fingers crossed, and it is, oh, is it Growlithe? Okay, we can definitely work with that, because going from the orange to like a kind of golden yellow is kind of boring. I want something more exciting, something that's like, wow, that is a shiny I want to hunt. So let's see what we can do. Okay, so shiny number 1 was Parasect, and now Parasect is a really cool Pokemon. This is its shiny, and then obviously this is its non-shiny. Isn't a vast difference, it's just kind of like a more golden tint to it, which is cool, but I wouldn't want to hunt this. So let's try and find a cooler colorway for it. So after doing some research, these are poisonous mushrooms, which is obviously what Parasect is based off. It's more of this colorway for the regular Parasect over the shiny. So I'm thinking of maybe going something like more towards this kind of hue, maybe this kind of colorway, something a bit more bright and vibrant that you could see it in Scarlet and Violet, for example, and be like, that is definitely a shiny Parasect. So let's see what we can do in Photoshop. Okay, I'm going to start by using the magic wand tool to select the kind of mushroom without the dots. We'll select the bits in the middle as well between its legs. Okay, so we've got all the orange selected. There's probably an easier way to do it, but stick to what you know. And then I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to get the brush tool and just kind of paint over it. So now we've got a black mushroom, and you're like, well, that looks like shit, we're not using that. We're obviously not going to use that, but we can use blending mode to kind of change the hue and everything. But like I said, the black was just for a base so that we have it selected. We can go with this kind of gray colorway and then change the color that we're wanting to use. So like I said, I used black before, so if we change it to like a white, it doesn't look like anything's happening now, but if we go to a blending mode, so what I've done here is I've made a duplicate layer of the actual mushroom. So this is a duplicate, and this is it without the layer on at all. So on the top layer, I put it to a hue blending mode and changed the opacity a bit. And then underneath, I done the same thing, but I changed it to a soft light. So it doesn't look like anything's happening here, but if I turn it off, it just kind of makes the mushroom a bit more lighter. And then I put this on top, so it looks a lot more like this mushroom here. Now what I want to do for the dots, because first thing I need to name these. Make sure to always name your layers, because I get confused and it's just easier to keep track of everything. But so we have the mushroom layer under, we've got the mushroom layer on top. Now what we're going to do is go back to the original and let's select all of the dots on it, and we've got to zoom in here so that we can select the ones on the edge as well. Okay, and with the dots selected, we can go to our new layer, get our brush tool, and we're going to kind of paint over it. Okay, so now we've painted the mushroom dots. I'm going to try and play around with the blending mode, see what we can do. I want it to look similar enough to this type of mushroom, and I think this does the job. But the thing I'm not liking is the rest of the body. I feel like the rest of the body could be something similar to a stalk, so maybe a bit whiter. So let's see what we can do. Okay, with the body now selected, I can make a new layer, and we'll call this body. Let's turn these back on. So this is what the new mushroom top that we made look like. That was before, and this is after. So like I said, I think I'm going to go for some kind of white, because I feel like that's going to be a vast difference between the non-shiny and the new shiny. Let's select white and then just kind of paint over it like that. And then we'll go to saturation maybe. Okay, and here we go. So we have my new shiny, the old shiny, and then regular Parasect. I feel like the difference between them is just crazy good, because having a bright, vibrant white shiny over a regular red parasect just looks so much better. The yellow and gold, don't get me wrong, it's okay. I feel like the new kind of poisonous mushroom style that we went for looks a lot better than this kind of uply saturated shiny that the Game Freak had made. So I feel like this is a well improved shiny. If you disagree or agree, let me know in the comments. But with that being said, let's move on to shiny number 2. Okay, so shiny number 2 of the video is Omastar. On the left we have it shiny, and on the right we have its non-shiny. They are very vibrantly different, and you can easily tell them apart. It's not exactly difficult. The body itself goes from a blue to a nice kind of fuchsia purplish pinkish color, and then the shell itself gets a little brighter as well. So I want to see if I can make it better or if I actually make it worse. Let's give it a go. So Ammonites are obviously what Omastar is based off, and they are very bland in color. They're very brown, very kind of pale and beigey, I guess. So I guess we can see what we can work with here. I do have an idea for what we could do, but let's give it a go and hop into Photoshop. Okay, so we've got the body selected. Now let's paint over it. Let's try and go with a white color again. And I want to go with this kind of colorway because I feel like it represents like this kind of color a lot, and it could work, it could not work, but we'll see what we can do. Okay, so with that selected, we can now go forward and select the shell. We've got to select these bits down here, and I don't actually want to select the eyes. So what we're going to do is go around the eyes. Now we're going to select these bits as well. Okay, so with the shell and the mouth selected, I'm going to create a new layer once again. I'm going to call this shell and mouth. Now for this, I want to go a lot darker. I want to go for a darker color scheme here. So we're going to make it kind of a black color and then see what we can do from there. I feel like if we do this and grayscale it, it just looks a little too boring. It looks very different from the original, yes, but I don't like how much it blends in with each other. Like the gray of the shell and the mouth is too close to the gray of the body. So let's see if we can change that. Now I feel like by graying out the shell a bit and making it a bit more of a darker brown / blackish color, that it is very different than the original and it would stick out. So for example, I always think of Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee and Pikachu when making shinies like this, especially for Gen 1 Pokemon. If you see an Omastar kind of bobbing around in the water, then this one would be very obvious that it's different than the regular Omastar. But I'm not too sure how I feel about the color of the shell, but I don't know what more we can do because it's already like a kind of a brownie color as its original. So changing it to this kind of blackish ivory color, I guess, for the shell may be too little or too much of a contrast, but in the bad way. Because when I'm doing it, I'm referencing this, but obviously this is a fossilized ammonite and I was wanting to go for more of a alive or restored fossil. So that's probably the wrong way to go for it. So maybe I should go with the brown, but maybe make it like a different tint of brown so that it is very obvious, because we've already changed the body of Omastar from blue to gray. So let's see what else we can do with the shell. Now I like this version of the shell because it reminds me of when you see like boats that have been sank underwater. It kind of looks like this colorway, and obviously because of the blue water it gives it more of a tint, whereas it's normally like a kind of rusted brown. But I like this kind of bluish grayish color that this is giving off, so that's kind of cool as well. But I'm still not 100% satisfied with it, although it does make a huge contrast between the original Omastar and its shiny. Now this is something that I don't think is much of a massive jump in change, but making the shell and the mouth more of a gold color rather than the brown color of the original non-shiny, I feel like a silver and gold contrast together just looks so good, and I don't know why, but I'm really happy with this because in comparison between them, they just look so good. So this is what I've ended up with. I went for the gold and silver kind of colorway because I think it looks good. It doesn't change the shell too much, but the body change itself is very vastly different, and it does stand out a lot more from the non-shiny and even the old shiny as well. But we have the three here, so the gold and silver, the original shiny of the pink and beige, I guess, and then the blue and the brown of the non-shiny. I do think the gold and silver looks really cool. So far, that's my favorite out of the three today. Let me know what you think in the comments, and let's move on to the last one. Okay, so the last and final Pokemon of the video that we're going to be changing the shiny of today is Growlithe. This is the regular shiny, and this is the regular non-shiny, and it's cool, don't get me wrong, but I feel like all they've done is just kind of change the color of the fur from orange to yellow, and then the same for the tail, the mane, and the hair on its head. But I don't feel like it's that big of a change that it stands out enough or is making me want to hunt it. Growlithe itself is such a cool Pokemon, but I don't love it shiny. So let's see if we can fix it. Now, after doing some research, Growlithe is based on the Shisha or the Kaminu. Kamainu. I don't know how to say that word. But basically it's these statues found in China, Japan, or in different parts of Asia, and I think they're really cool. But what I don't want to do is just make it a grey or white shiny. We'll give it a go and see what it looks like, but I do have some ideas on how to fix the shiny. Okay, as always, what we got to do first is select the bits we want to change the color of. Okay, we got all the yellow bits selected, so let's go with that. Okay, and then we are going to paint it a color. See, even already that looks a lot cooler. Now already, I think that looks so much better than the original shiny and the non-shiny as well. I think that looks so cool. I don't love the kind of green fur that's left that we haven't changed. That already is kind of cool. We grayscaled it a bit, but I'm not too sure if I love it. Let's see what else we can do with it. So I'm going to select the rest of the fur. So we'll go with the tail and the head and the mane. Okay, so we selected the rest of the fur. So I'm going to change the color of that as well. So let's do that. I wonder if we changed. No, I don't see if by doing that I just don't like it, because again we just grayscaled it and I want it to be a lot more vibrant. So let's see if we can change the color of what we're doing with it. So maybe go with a blue. That makes it feel like more of an ice type. We've got to remember it's still a fire type, so we want it to be maybe a bit more orange. That's way too bright. But if we were to, you know, I'm kind of digging that. I think that looks pretty cool, but I don't love the yellow, and it does feel more like kind of like shiny Raikou that I'm not loving. Maybe if we change the actual core of its body to something else, that could look cool. Making it brown like that just still, again, it still feels too close to the non-shiny. I like it and it feels tigery, but again, I'm not loving it. Okay, hear me out. I know this isn't exactly a well-loved color when it comes to shinies. Green shinies are quite often referred to as like the least loved shiny colors, but I feel like this just works so well. I love the complements between the yellow and the green, and then the black accents as well just work really well. And I'm actually really digging this. It's given very kind of like khaki army colors, and I'm not sure if I love it or hate it. If you like or hate this one, let me know in the comments as well, because I'm really unsure on this one. Okay, after a bit of messing around with the colors and saturation and the hues and everything, I feel like I've settled on a shiny that is going to be very controversial, but I love. So hear me out on this. This is the new shiny Growlithe. And I know what you're going to say. Green is such a commonly hated color for a shiny, but I don't know why. I just feel like it works so well. It's such a big contrast between the non-shiny and my new shiny that I feel like it just works very well. Comparing it to the old shiny, the green is just so bright and vibrant that if I was to have it side by side, and like I said, Pokemon Let's Go, then the green shiny would be very obvious, like, oh my god, that is a shiny Growlithe. Whereas sometimes out the corner of your eye, you might not be able to tell if the old shiny is shiny. But I really like this new shiny Growlithe. I think it's really cool. But like I said, for all of them, let me know your favorite shiny down in the comments, and if you agree or disagree with any of them. If you have enjoyed today's video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you're new, so that you stick around for Generation 2. See you guys next time.